Let's get close, but not so close. Quarantine. You can share from a distance. Quarantine. You know we want to see each other. We'll have to stay in your quarantine space while we talk.
Friday, the 9th of May. No, the 9th of April. Friday, the 9th of April, 2020. We are 54 weeks into this changed world that began with a lockdown and is now reemerging. Welcome to Quarantime. And sometimes there are topics here that show up just in time. You know, we've been through this whole period of kind of looking inward and trying to get through something. And now we're all back to inventing the world, reconstituting hope, and what we may become. And so today we want to get inspired by some of the best minds that actually examine the possibility of wonder and how it's been practiced and how it's changed lives, how all of us can do that as makers, and how even a national institution like the Smithsonian can share its knowledge with anybody who can remake, remix, and play with it. It is a plastic time, in the best sense of the word, on the earth. And today's show, we're going to dig into that. And also with some of our great friends, like Greg Barr, who comes back to us from the Grable Foundation in Pittsburgh, and his deep experience applying Fred Rogers to the world here. Mickey, why don't you come on, and then we can set up today's show and this amazing set of guests, which excites me because this is a concentrated dose of inspiration at a time when we need some.
Yeah. I just so I'm a big fan and friend and occasional collaborator and maker with Greg and the Grable Foundation. You know, I've got roots in Pittsburgh and companies there, and I just love Pittsburgh. And way back in the 2000s. I remember going to like a breakfast meeting or going to like a little get together, and the idea was, it was just Greg getting some interesting friends together, and it was just this notion of, could we make this the best place on the planet to raise a kid? And I was just like, wow, okay, I like this. And so it was super exciting when I heard that Greg and Ryan have come out with a book. So why don't we have the guests come on, and we'll just have them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into the show. We've got a lot of stuff to cover.
Okay, let's bring them on. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Greg.
Hello.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Tim.
Hello.
All right, real invention. Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
My name's Jason, as you already heard. I run a YouTube channel as well as Instagram and a plant nursery that sells lucky bamboo and just several other plants as well. And I just want to bring importance to the foods and understanding where you eat, where it comes from, so you have a better understanding and appreciation of the plant itself.
That's pretty good. Yeah, and being able to actually eat the things you grow is pretty amazing. That's a bonus. Yeah. That's a bonus.
Well, you know, it speaks to being a.
I just wanted to go back to high school. You know, it was like I got ripped off. I felt like.
Well, you know, it speaks to being a wanderer, right? Bart and Todd allowed themselves to be wanderers onto that Carnegie Mellon University campus. People who allow themselves to wander into the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild or the Children's Museum in Pittsburgh or the Elizabeth Ford School District. You know, those are the things that sort of shake you and prompt you to say, you know, what is it that we can do if we really want to push forward in support of kids and learning and and great learning? What is it that we need to do? And Peter, that's what we've tried to do, is capture that for folks and really support, at this point, thousands of educators in and out of school, early childhood through high school, to be those inventors and creators and makers of new learning futures for our kids.
I feel like I want to bring in Jason as soon as we can. Go ahead, Peter, but let's bring in Jason, because I like the idea of having somebody that's actually in the mix of being a youth innovator at Manchester.
Let me ask you a question, but then we could put everybody on this. But in your practice, Ryan, of working on innovation with area clients, like what are the kinds of ways that you're applying this book, and what are you looking forward to seeing kind of come to fruition?
I think it's timely in many ways, just because so many of us have been at home. We talk a lot about connection in this book. I think what I'm most looking forward to is just being in relation with people, being in community with people. I miss that. I think we all miss that. But I didn't necessarily know how important it was until I really dug into the science behind Mr.Rogers' Neighborhood. We discuss a number of studies in here that talk about the long-term benefits of children, but also adults, feeling that they matter, feeling a sense of belonging, feeling that they're a part of something. I think the past few months have been hard on us because it's hard to feel a part of something when you're at home in quarantine. But what I'm most looking forward to is being with people, but also thinking about these principles of what is it that makes us human, and how can we take that to make life better for ourselves and for our neighbors.
And on that note, we should probably take a visit to JG's garden.
Yeah, let's visit JG's garden.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hey.
JG, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Well, my name's Jason. I run a YouTube channel in which I teach people about gardening, from the small stuff to the big stuff, and just wanting to grow your own food and have a better appreciation for the planet and just the general earth itself, as well as increasing health consciousness and understanding everything about your body and how you can make it better and how you can make the planet better as well.
How did you get into the YouTube channel and being such an like an evangelist for gardening and solving all of the problems of food and gardening?
Oh, okay. So I started a YouTube channel back when I was maybe like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I did a little bit there. So I had a lot of dabbling, like when it comes to like posting the videos, editing, and all the software and stuff like that. But then later, after, I just stopped posting on that channel because I just got bored with it. And quarantine happened. I had a whole bunch of free time. And I remember I made it a goal back in October of 2020, that I wanted to build a garden. And I wanted to, start growing my own food for my health and such. And then quarantine just gave me a whole big lump of time. And then I realized, like, what am I going to do with this time? Am I going to sit around and do nothing, or am I going to do something that's not just going to benefit me now, but on and on and on?
Didn't you post in February of 2020, just as we realized we were heading into this, a piece about food security and growing your own stuff?
Yep. It's kind of funny because it was exactly when I started. It was just like, boom, now we're here. And it's just...
We have a clip from that exact one. So let's go ahead and play a clip from JG about a year and a few weeks ago.
So that is a simple way of turning your regular old cardboard tube into a functioning biodegradable pot that you can start growing seeds in. And remember, if you do not have in possession a grow light or good quality lighting in which you can grow your seeds, don't do it. Because the fact is that you're just going to waste your money, because if the seeds don't have adequate lighting when they're young, then they're most likely just going to die.
That was a lot for one episode.
I just realized how that played into the theme. If the seed doesn't have adequate lighting when it's growing up, then it's not going to grow properly. I just realized how that fits so well.
It's windy wonder and adding sunshine. Yeah, I love it. That's exactly right. JG, tell me a little bit about who you're becoming. Like who like as you're dreaming and doing this stuff, you've stumbled on doing this, you're doing it, you made a commitment to do it. what are things you learned that surprised you about like doing this regular YouTube thing and working with your hands in plants? Like, what did you discover? And what has it gotten you more curious about? Or what do you wonder about now? Or what do you wonder about where you'll go?
Man, that's a lot of questions. Let me think.
Yeah, pick one of them.
Man, where I want to be and such, like, I'm just like all of us. Every day we go on, we're evolving constantly, and so I'm just trying to be the best me that I can be, and show people that they can be the best them, as well as, you know, for your body, for the planet, and such. And I think we sometimes can forget about that with so many things going on. There's social medias and such. And we taken all, there's just so much rapid information that we're being just consumed by, that we sometimes just forget about the simpler things of life, like how a plant grows, how microorganisms come together and create life. And we just got to return to that natural state of being, like, this thing is something that we should appreciate, even outside of gardening, just like every little bit of it, and learn to appreciate all parts and such of life. Because if you understand the value, like, we're living in the 21st century, like we jump back 3-4 centuries, it's a whole different world. There's so many things that we take for granted these days. It's just that we have to realize that none of this stuff just happened. It happened because of a process. And if we understand the work that goes into every product, everything that we eat, like the outdoors, and how many years and hundreds of years it took for these trees to grow and such to grow, then we can in turn have a better outlook and a positive outlook on life.
You know, you remind me that in Japan, there's a daily ritual called forest bathing. And forest bathing means that citizens of Japan look for an opportunity to wander through the forest every day, to sort of bathe in all the smells and the noises and the beautiful dappling light and everything. And it feels like we don't get a chance all the time to realize that we can just take a bath in the forest. Walk outside. And
it's just like, that took hundreds of years just to even get there. And then the different organisms, the birds, the bees, the squirrels, all these different species that live within the forest, they need this. This is their life, and understanding that we are part of that. Whether we like it or not,
we're not separate.
We're not separate. We're not
I'm curious.
separate at all.
I'm curious about like how Manchester Craftsman's Guild and that environment has helped you, you know, maybe post-pandemic or during, or how did they help you play with what you were passionate about and interested in?
I got into MCG about 5 years ago now. I started in 6th grade because I was with a charter school, Max, and they had basically a routine deal. So it was an academic, it was what's called an extracurricular class. They would basically pick you up from the school and then bring you down to the MCG during like the school year. And then through that, I learned about, of course, the photography, the digital art, the design art. But then I fell in love with like ceramics and clay building and just wanting just to create things with my hands. And then it just turned into me putting a whole bunch of my arts in different competitions and just growing and learning more about myself and just learning new skills. So like if I need to take a photo, or if I want to take a photo of art, I can go to photography, I can get a camera, I can take some new photos. If I wanted to create a cool art piece or something that I didn't have access to, like a certain medium or such, I can just go there and create these things and then be surrounded with a really welcoming community that's like just always willing to help. And it's really helped me, you know, evolve as a person.
I think one of the fascinating things about MCG is that something on the order of 80% of the students that come over there for after school programs and get to play go on to four-year colleges. Like it's a huge, just because you find love and passion in making these things, and it's lowered the friction. You can kind of just walk down the hall a little bit. You're surrounded by beautiful art and sculpture, and you can walk down the hall and learn how to throw clay or use a computer and do cool things. And then there's a cooking school, and there's a bunch of stuff there. It must have been just like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, basically, it was unfamiliar like terrain, to put it in that way. It was unfamiliar, but it was so beneficial, and it's been extremely beneficial to me now, even during quarantine, because it's been giving me opportunities like this to be on this podcast right here, as well as the quarantine, gave me a spark or reason to start the channel and start making more videos at home, create the Instagram, and share, and then just get connected. And I think being inside, we now can take a deep breath in and just realize who are around us, and in general, just appreciate each other more.
Greg or Ryan or Peter, you're on mute. Anybody else have a question?
Well, I'm curious. So, JG, you're so impressive, and I appreciate the way that you just shared how one thing led to another, this interest. But you mentioned the welcoming community, right? I think key to this story is the role of the caring adults. Can you say something about what it is that the adults in that setting did for you, how they supported you?
Well, man, I'm trying to figure out a real like borderline way I can put it, but it's just like, it was, like I said, the community, the people who cared about me as a person enough to just say like, oh, so you're having trouble with this art piece, how can we fix it? Like, I can always recall like moments like where we had Bryce or Talon in the studio and such, and like he would show me, like I was like, oh wait, I'm struggling with creating like this ear for this sculpture piece or this eye, and he was like, okay, he'll create it, he'll make it perfect. He was like, I was like, wow, that looks perfect, and then he'll smash it and say, you got to learn for yourself. And that reinforcement, it even though like as like going through the motions, just like why you have to make,
why'd you do that?
Why would you do that to me? That's not fair. But in turn, it gave me a better appreciation for it, but also it helped me learn. So it wasn't like I was giving up. I was learning from my mistake, and I had people around me like at all times who, if I had a question or needed a better understanding on a certain topic or a certain piece, outside of just ceramics, just all of the studios and just the people in the area, then I can just ask.
JG, you've been listening in on this, and you asked Daria a question. I'm curious, how do you come up with an idea for your next show? Like, what drives what you want to do next in terms of the show or the topic?
It's of course me just trying to figure out what is the easiest, like, it's kind of like workouts and everything. You don't want to push somebody full-fledged into an hour and 30-minute workout, because you go 100%, you're just going, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, my videos are video shows, either or, are based on, of course, just the topics that I'm interested in, but also just ways that are just so simple and easy that you're not going to, like, it's like, oh, toilet paper towel rolls, so saving a few of those and planting some seeds. That's really easy, simple to do stuff. And just like, oh, taking a few leftover buckets in the garage, drilling holes in them, boom, I have a plant now. It's just like, just being as basic as possible. Just do, because it's better to go 70% every day than 100% once in a while.
Yeah, I like this baby step approach, or just sort of try it a little bit. Let's, give people a chance, like access. And I think in learning, the notion is, especially for really complex things, I mean, if you really fall in love with plants, you can spend a lifetime learning about how to grow and how to nurture the soil and all that. But if you don't have these entry points, a bridge from where you are to get your hands dirty a little bit, then you could be intimidated pretty easily. So that feels like a wonderful answer. Anyone have any other questions for anyone?
But also, like, just don't be afraid to fail either. Like, that's a big thing. A quote that I learned actually yesterday was, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback and success. So don't be afraid of getting feedback from whatever you're doing outside of whatever topic I'm talking about, the topic that I'm talking about, but just in general life.
Let's get close, but not so close. Quarantine. You can share from a distance. Quarantine.